Let's roll. All right. I got 5:30. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Donald, mission statement.
Beaufort County Schools will provide a quality education programs and services to ensure student academic and vocational success.
Thank you, Donald. 1.3, Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. Ms. Davis.
Please stand proudly as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Continue to join me and my fellow board members, and we stand for a quiet moment of invocation. Let us take this moment to reaffirm our purpose and dedication to all the children of Beaufort County Schools, focusing on their greater good and our commitment to their success.
Amen.
Thank you. We will now proceed to tonight's agenda.
Amen.
2.1, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of minutes. You got 2 attachments. Any additions or corrections?
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, 4.1, we have no public comment, correct, Ms. Sim? Yep. All right, right on down to 5.1, public recognition. Let's see, Director of Student Services, Dr. Tremaine Young, come on up. And this is January and February put together because we had an ice and snowstorm in January. Looks like we're getting ready to have another one, unfortunately. So this is January's character ed citizenship, and Dr. Young, you got the floor. Yes.
I'm going to interrupt for a moment. My name is Matthew Cleveland, Superintendent of Beaufort County Schools. So excited that you're all here. Before we get to our character ed portion of the evening, we do have one recognition in the room, an extra special recognition that I'd like to take time with. So I'm going to ask Board Member Ms. Elta Booth to please come forward.
She looks happy. She gave a look like, didn't know about this.
All right, so I received the superintendent and on behalf of the Board of Education a notice that says on behalf of the Beaufort County branch of the NAACP, we proudly recognize individuals whose selfless dedication and service have profoundly impacted our community. Ms. Elta Booth embodies the values through her steadfast advocacy, leadership, and compassion, making her a deserving recipient of the President's Community Service Award. Her unwavering commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice has expanded opportunities for students, staff, and families throughout Beaufort County schools. As a Beaufort County School Board member, faith-driven community leader, Ms. Booth has championed educational equity, student success, and community engagement, ensuring every individual has a voice and the opportunity to thrive. Beyond education, she remains a compassionate neighbor whose service continues to create lasting positive change. On Saturday, February 15th, in recognition of her outstanding contribution, the Beaufort County NAACP honored Ms. Elta Booth with the Beaufort County NAACP President's Award. Presented alongside other distinguished community leaders, this award celebrates her exceptional service, leadership, and unwavering dedication to the betterment of our county and its citizens. But to that, they extend their deepest gratitude to you, the Beaufort County School Board, for your ongoing support of our students, educators, and families. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can put your hands together for Ms. Elta Booth. Tremaine, your turn.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Our character ed trait for the month of January was citizenship. First up, we have Ryder Cooper from Bath Elementary. Ryder is a shining example of good citizenship in his first grade classroom. Ryder consistently shows kindness and respect towards his classmates and teachers. His positive attitude and encouragement of others helps make our classroom a positive place to learn. He goes out of his way to make everyone feel welcome and valued and shows so much love to his peers. Whether it's group work, sharing supplies, or cleaning up, Ryder's actions show what being a good citizen is all about. Good job, Ryder. Next up, Eastern Elementary, we have Deliana Johnson. Deliana exemplifies the character trait of citizenship through her actions and attitude each day. She is one of Eastern ambassadors. She is always willing to lend a helping hand to her classmates, whether it's sharing materials, explaining directions, or simply offering encouragement. Her support extends beyond her peers as she is consistently eager to assist teachers with tasks in the classroom. She takes pride in cleaning our room and keeping our school clean and organized. Okay. Chakawindy Primary School, we have Bentley. I want to pronounce this right. Bujalowski, is that right? Bajowski. Bajowski, Bentley Bajowski. When faced with choosing a student that demonstrates citizenship, I ask myself, what do good citizens do? Good citizens help shape our world in a positive way and contribute to the greater good. Bentley is always trying to steer his classmates in a positive direction by uplifting them and encouraging them. He often reminds his classmates we can do hard things during a difficult task or activity. Bentley wants everyone to experience success, not just himself. He is the person clapping for the person who comes in first place and last place. When working in partners or groups, he is the one taking on the leadership role and making sure everyone is being included, but also pulling their weight. Bentley contributes to and leads classroom discussions. He always has something to offer that his classmates can understand and relate to. When it comes to technology in our classroom, he is our go-to guy. He will stop whatever he is doing to help a classmate when needed. In addition to helping others, he admits when he needs help. Bentley also takes responsibility for his actions, every single one of them. He owns his mistakes and makes a gracious effort to improve when needed, whether that can be academically or behaviorally. Bentley is the type of person you want on your team and in your corner. He is an incredible citizen in our classroom and school, and who will one day be an outstanding leader in our community. Great job, brother. John Cotton Taylor, we have a Keon Gibbs. Is he here today? He's not here today. John Small, we have Monica Ramos. Monica is a great example of what John Small hopes for all students to portray. She knows kindness, is responsible, and follows the rules by respecting others and following expectations. She is honest and contributes in a positive way in the classroom environment. She is helpful to her teachers and her peers and shows compassion for others. She does not have to be asked to assist in any situation and has great integrity for a fifth grader. She always does the right thing even when nobody is watching. She is driven to do her best and wants to be successful. She loves to learn, wants to learn more, and often asks questions to seek more information. When in class, she does not just participate, she is fully involved in the learning or task at hand. Aside from all the positive attributes of being such a positive citizen and student at John Small, her teachers note that Monica is a joy to teach. Great job. For Northeast, we have Savannah Black. Savannah embodies integrity and respect in her daily interaction throughout the school building. She treats everyone with kindness and respect and helps create a positive environment. Savannah inspires others to work hard and to be their best. Savannah is a role model in and out of the classroom. She consistently demonstrates honesty, kindness, and fairness and encourages others to do the same. She is a natural leader and enjoys assisting classmates who are struggling with assignments. Great job, Savannah. From Snowden, we have Mariah Moore. Why you here today? All right. Chakawindy Middle, we have Kylie Tyree. P.S. Jones Middle School, we have Graham and Leighton Spivey. I am pleased to recommend Graham and Leighton Spivey for the Citizenship Character Trait Award. Graham and Leighton consistently embody the values of citizenship, responsibility, and maturity in their daily actions. Each day, they take on the important task of respectfully folding our flags, demonstrating their care for tradition and responsibility. Additionally, their willingness to assist with preparing the school for athletic events shows a strong sense of teamwork, leadership, and dedication to our school community. Beyond these contributions, Graham and Leighton set an excellent example for their peers through their consistent demonstration of maturity and integrity. They take initiative without being asked, always stepping up when needed and carrying out their tasks with pride. I wholeheartedly believe Graham and Leighton Spivey are deserving of this award. Their actions reflect the true spirit of citizenship, and they serve as role models for our entire student body. Good job, guys. From early college, we have John Magana. John consistently models citizenship both in his dealings with his teachers and his peers. Because he is bilingual, teachers have often paired him with multilingual students who are still building their English proficiency. John is always happy to help and treats his partners with respect, aiding as needed, but never being condescending. When writing collaborative essays, I had a student who had not been able to find a partner, and he volunteered to work with that student without hesitation. In working in small groups, he always listens to his classmates' ideas attentively and politely, even when he disagrees. He always listens to and follows directions and shows respect for whatever subject matter we are learning. Moreover, he goes out of his way to walk by my desk at the end of each class to tell me to have a nice day. He exemplifies kindness and respect in all his interactions with others and in his own actions in and out of the classroom. His behavior helps to create a positive classroom environment and community. Great job. From Northside, we have Emerson Asby. Emerson, one of my old students, growing up. Yeah, he is growing up. Emerson is president of the sophomore class. I've had the honor of working with Emerson for the last 2 years through the SGA activity of planning and executing events for homecoming week. Emerson was diligent in seeking input from his peers about activities they would like to have and cheerfully went along with those activities, even when they were activities he did not particularly enjoy. He is kind, helpful, and respectful of his schoolmates and always willing to jump in and help with any project that needs to be done. His peers look to him for his leadership, and he demonstrates sound guidance and encourages collaboration among all. He is a very active member of many clubs and organizations at our school and is part of our cross-country team. He is a steadfast supporter and participant in all Panther student activities, exemplifying school spirit. Emerson is also very active in community activities outside of school as well and earned our school's nomination for the Ben Carson Scholar Award program. I feel he is the ideal candidate for this award. Great job, Emerson. From Southside, we have Jaden Johnson. I am proud to nominate Jaden Johnson for Southside High School Student of the Month for citizenship. He is an outstanding student leader who demonstrates a deep commitment to the school and community. As president of the Student NAACP, she works tirelessly to promote inclusivity and social justice. She is also an active member of the Beta Club, where she participates in service projects and leadership activities. In addition to excelling in all her advanced courses, Jaden volunteers in her community and is always willing to support and mentor her fellow students. Her dedication, leadership, and compassion make her a truly deserving candidate for this recognition. From Washington High School, we have Zion Collins. All right. For February, our character trait for the month, oh, I'm sorry, there's Zion. All right, Zion is a model student who works hard inside and outside of the school. He is generous with his time and has worked over 100 hours of community service. Impressive. Zion is the consummate leader who defines the essence of citizenship by doing his part for the community and state. Zion takes risk in the face of adversity. He is an amputee, yet doesn't let his disability get in the way of his actions and activities. He runs faster, tries harder, and accomplishes great results in ROTC and life. Great job, Zion. All right, for February, our character trait for this month is gratitude. From Bath Elementary, we have Michelle Carrasco Flores. Michelle. For Eastern Elementary, we have Colton Sternberg. Is that Colton coming up? All right. All right. Colton has displayed this trait since the beginning of school year. He always says, "Thank you, Miss Whitehead and Miss Moore," when he receives his breakfast and lunch, or when he needs assistance with an activity. Colton is always willing to help his peers and teachers. When one of his peers needs help to clean or just need a hand to hold, Colton will be the first one to say, "I will help him or her." Great job, Colton. From Chakawindy Primary, we have Elizabeth Amick. I would like to nominate Elizabeth Lib Amick for the Character Ed nomination of gratitude. Lib is a little girl that is so thankful and appreciative of everything that is given to her or provided for her. Whether it be a small treat, sticker, house point, or kind word, you will always hear the words "thank you" from her. You can be guaranteed that the thank you that she expresses comes from her heart. I believe Lib has a heart the size of the big outdoors. She gets giddy with anticipation of the good things that are coming for her. Her face lights up and the biggest smile comes across her face immediately. We also see gratitude from her when she receives extra help on skills while working in class. She is always receptive of the assistance that is given to her and will leave the table with a thank you on her lips. When Lib gives you that sweet little thank you, you cannot help but have the same amount of gratitude for her. Thank you, Lib, for sharing your joy and thankfulness for all things, whether big or small. From JCT, we have Levi Outlaw. Levi is an extremely polite scholar who works very hard every day in the classroom, absent only one school day this year for a trip to the dentist. He strives to meet each expectation set before him and always demonstrates gratitude when he receives assistance. He seeks out the good in people and works effortlessly with his peers. It is not uncommon for Levi to offer compliments to his teachers, telling them how much he enjoys his time in their class. Thank you, Levi. For John Small, we have Tiara Randolph. Tiara always expresses her gratitude when she receives help from me during the school day. She greets me with a smile and expresses her concerns or struggles she may be having in a subject. Once she receives advice or help from me or others, she always says thank you and leaves with a smile. Additionally, she shares a kind word with a friend, teacher, and always shows kindness. She shows a positive attitude and thoughtful nature and welcoming disposition with everyone that she meets. She understands gratitude is not just about saying thank you, but also recognizing the good in others and making the world a better place, one kind gesture at a time. All right, from Northeast, we have Kamari Thigpen. Kamari shows gratitude and a grateful heart on a daily basis. Her family has sadly been through a very tough time, and Kamari has been so appreciative of any and all assistance, support, and suggestions. Kamari comes to school with a smile, a genuine love of life, and an overwhelming sense of gratitude despite the obstacles she has been forced to face and overcome in her life outside of school. Kamari works hard and is filled with gratitude and kindness. All right, from Snowden, we have Destiny Ennis. Is that it? That's Destiny. Destiny is always appreciative of others. She is always smiling, giving hugs to her teachers and friends. Destiny always remembers to say thank you to our cafeteria ladies. Thank you, Destiny. From Chakawinity in the middle, we have Skylar Cornelius. Skylar Cornelius, a fifth grade student of the marvelous Mr. Davis, who embodies the true spirit of gratitude and perseverance. Skylar approaches every challenge with an open heart and an eager mind, always thankful for the opportunity to learn and grow. His enthusiasm for new experiences and his drive to push beyond his personal boundaries inspire everyone around him. Great job. All right, from P.S. Jones, we have Jaden Winley. We are thrilled to recommend Jaden Winley for the gratitude character trait. As a P.S. Jones ambassador for the House of Revere, Jaden consistently demonstrates a deep sense of appreciation. Did I pronounce it right? Revere. He consistently demonstrates a deep sense of appreciation and humility in all aspects of life. He not only embodies the values of his house, but he also goes above and beyond to show gratitude to those around him. During the RCA House Leadership Academy in October, Jaden expressed immense gratitude for the opportunity to participate, sharing how much he appreciated the chance to grow as a leader. He not only acknowledged the valuable lessons he learned, but also took the time to reflect on how he could apply them in his daily life. Every leadership opportunity he is given, Jaden meets it with enthusiasm, dedication, and a genuine sense of thankfulness. Whether it's leading his peers or representing his house, he is always mindful of the support he receives from others and never misses an opportunity to thank and express his thanks to others. His unwavering gratitude for the opportunities he's been offered makes him a true role model and an inspiring example of gratitude in action. Great job. From Early College, we have Kasia Keys. Kasia is a student who truly recognizes and is grateful for the opportunities she is given. She works incredibly hard in her coursework, and when she has success, she loves to share this success with her teachers. More than once, she has come up to me after taking an assessment, thrilled at her grade. She has grown academically since coming to the Early College, and her choice to celebrate her successes with her teachers is her way of showing her gratitude for that growth. She has not taken her educational journey for granted, and she seems to recognize that her teachers are in her corner, ready to celebrate with her. To me, this exemplifies a student with a grateful heart, which is why it does my own heart good to nominate her. From Northside, we have Katie Biggs.
Didn't see her come up.
Southside, we have Tristan McCarter. Washington High School, we have Riley Barrow. Who was that? Is that Tristan? That's Riley. Okay, Riley. This month, I'm proud to nominate Riley as Student of the Month for Gratitude. Riley consistently demonstrates an exceptional ability to acknowledge and appreciate the positive actions of those around him, fostering a warm and supportive atmosphere in our classroom. Whether it's a teacher offering help, a classmate lending support, or learning a new opportunity, Riley always takes the time to say thank you and verbally acknowledges the effort or kindness shown. This genuine sense of thankfulness extends beyond the classroom. During discussions, he often shares heartfelt reflections of his gratitude for his parents, siblings, and friends, highlighting the impact they have had on his life. His ability to identify and appreciate acts of kindness, no matter how small, helps to strengthen the bonds within our school community. His gratitude not only brightens the mood of those around him, but also inspires others to embrace and share positivity. This attitude enhances the sense of belonging and resilience among his peers, making our class a more connected and uplifting community environment. Raleigh is an outstanding example of gratitude in action.
All right. The next up on the list is January Athletes of the Month. Beaufort County Athletic Director Keith Mitchell.
Good evening. Thanks for being here. Of course, like we said, we're recognizing Athlete of the Month, and this is something to highlight outstanding student athletes who have demonstrated exceptional dedication, sportsmanship, and performance in the classroom as well as on the field of court. Whether through competition, training, or leadership, these athletes stay positive in the face of adversity and have shown growth and improvement through determination, commitment, and being coachable. So as I call your name, come up, get your medal, please, and congratulations before we get going. We'll do each high school one at a time, so we'll do all of January and all of February from each high school. So we'll start with Washington, and the female athlete of the month for January is Aubrey Woolard. Aubrey is a Pan Pac Swim standout, and throughout the season continues to dominate the competition in the pool, racking up numerous victories in her individual events. She finished in the top 5 in the state last year as a freestyle and butterfly swimmer, and her hard work and determination, she will reach that pinnacle of a state champion. Congratulations to Aubrey on all her hard work and success in the pool. January for Washington is Gabe Foreman. Gabe is a wrestler at Washington High School and has turned into a blossoming star on the wrestling team. Gabe achieved his 100th victory this year as a Pan Pac wrestler and is adding more each time he steps on the mat. Gabe's positive personality is contagious, and he has been a shining light both on the mat and in the school. Congratulations, Gabe, on all your hard-earned success. And Gabe will be wrestling for a state championship this weekend. February Athlete of the Month for Washington is Elizabeth Barra-Meza. Elizabeth has been a bright spot on our Lady Pan Pac basketball team. When you attend a game, she is a constant ball of energy that keeps pushing the team to be better. Elizabeth has been a leading scorer for the team as well as a constant leader on the court. Her drive will push her teammates to be better, and we're excited to see her grow as a leader and an athlete for the Lady Pan Pac. And our male athlete for Washington for February is Mr. Chase Smith. Chase has been a crucial part of the varsity men's basketball team this season. Over the 22 games that have already been played, with many more to come, Chase has led the team in points per game with 20, assists per game at 6, and steals with 2. Chase has been a vital part of the team's success, and with his drive and determination, the sky's the limit for himself and this Pan Pac basketball team. For Northside, January Female Athlete of the Month is Olivia Jane Cahoon, better known as OJ. I don't think she's at basketball tonight for Northside and Southside. They had to play due to the weather coming in tomorrow, so a lot of those folks are not here. So Olivia's on the court as we speak. Male Athlete of the Month for January is Avery Robertson. Avery is the epitome of what it means to be a well-rounded student athlete, both on and off the field. As a dedicated member of the cross-country and basketball teams, Avery consistently demonstrates hard work, perseverance, and a commitment to personal and team success. Avery also maintains outstanding academic performance, balancing a challenging schedule with ease. Avery's encouraging spirit and supportive words uplift teammates, fostering a sense of camaraderie and inspiration that extends beyond practices and games. Congratulations. Female athlete for Northside for February is Madison Scheffler. She's at basketball as well. And male athlete for February is Zamir Alexander. He is at basketball as well. Moving on to Southside, January female athlete of the month is senior Tamaya Smith, and she's at basketball. Male athlete of the month for January is senior Josh Armstrong, and he's at basketball. And female athlete of the month for February for Southside is senior Sophia Ziegler, and she is here. Sophia is a great student as well as an outstanding athlete that represents her team, school, community, and county with the utmost dignity and respect. Sophia has been consistent in coming to preseason workouts and does all she can to be the best teammate possible. She has been a team leader since workouts by leading by example through both deed and effort. One cannot ask for a better student athlete than this young lady, and Southside is very proud to have her as a part of our student body and soccer program. And last for our male athlete of the month for Southside is junior Landon Beecham. Landon consistently demonstrates exceptional athleticism, leadership, and dedication as both a wrestler and the starting center for the football team. In wrestling, he has shown relentless determination, secured key victories, and exemplified hard work and perseverance. As a center on the football team, he has been pivotal in the offensive line, ensuring effective protection and execution in every game. His ability to balance both sports while maintaining academic excellence and a positive attitude makes him a deserving candidate for Athlete of the Month.
And now we're going to do teacher recognition for National Board Teacher Certification Recognition. I can't even get all that out. Dr. Cheeseman, you got the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to recognize our professional educators who are renewing and or completing their first time their National Board certification. So at this time, I'd like to call Ms. Courtney Riggs, Northside High School. Second time.
It is.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
So excited for
Yes.
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Receiving national awards for the first time from Washington High School, Ms. Jessica Adams. Congratulations. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
And from Southside High School, achieving it for the first time, is Raven Kathy.
Now we got principal recognition, Dr. Cheeseman.
On behalf of the State Board of Education, the Department of Instruction, and the State Superintendent, it's my pleasure to bring recognition to the achievements that our schools had this past academic year. And the principal and/or his or her designee, they come forward. So Beaufort Early College High School for exceeding academic growth. For exceeding academic growth, Chapel Primary School. For academic growth, Bath Elementary School. For academic growth, Northside High School. For academic growth, Northeast Elementary School. Academic growth, Southside High School. Academic growth, S.W. Snowden Elementary School. Academic growth, P.S. Jones Middle School. And academic growth, John Cotton Taylor Elementary School.
Is that it?
All right, 2 other awards. And I'll ask Ms. Elta Booth to come back again. Hold on, I'm gonna go see Miss Elta Booth. So on behalf of the North Carolina School Boards Association Academy for School Boardsmanship, and this is based off of number of professional development hours over time as a board member, and in this case, it's well over 700 hours. So this is an award to Miss Elta Booth for her dedication as a board member to Beaufort County. Congratulations. And that last award, I'd ask for Beaufort County Early College High School to come back up. This is a certificate of achievement presented to Beaufort County Early College High School for outstanding achieving the graduation rate of 98.1%. Congratulations to you. Jared, thank you.
Okay, let's give everybody one last good round of applause to our staff. And if anybody wants to take a little bit of time to, for all of our staff to take a little breath while we're transitioning to the the more part of the meeting, the less fun part of the meeting. If y'all want to go eat dinner and go have some fun, go ahead. Yeah, as we're going through the part of the meeting. I wouldn't call it the meat. This is meat. This is the less fun part.
Bring some back there.
I don't think my mic is on.
I was on.
I don't think my mic is on. Yeah, I know.
I heard it tap.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm getting ready. Look, you're getting ready. Hey, I want. Hey, I want y'all to take notice of one thing right now. I want you to watch this. All of these kids came for watch the others and watch Raven. That's Southside kids. Am I right?
Yeah.
Are they Washington High School?
That's awesome. Some of those are Southside. They may be mixed up. I don't know all of them.
Well, it don't matter. Look, we can take all the time we need for this. If it don't matter what it takes. Merging. He'll be all right. Nothing, I'm waiting. Everybody good? All right, yeah. Jimmy Height, you're up. All right, board, we're back on 6.1, Washington Elementary School update. Mr. Jimmy Height's coming to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Height, for sitting through all these accolades.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not getting an award, by the way.
no.
I'd like to pass this out. This is my, give you an update on the construction. We had our first regular construction meeting today, and Winco presented their schedule.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
And the schedule is like this.
Yeah, he'll get, hang on. Hey, can you say all that when you get to them, because some of them want to hear, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll just pass these out.
I got one, Dr. Cheeseman.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
I've got And I've got one more that I'll just go over. So we had our first regular construction meeting today. WIMCO presented their schedule. The schedule is a very long and drawn-out, complicated. There are hundreds of activities on the schedule. So what I thought I would do to bring you up to date is to make this map. And then on the map, I've got some red boxes with some information in the red boxes. So the map is the map of the site with the building on it. And then this is an update, February 18th, 2025. There are two boxes that represent what's going on right now. So today, the site is being cleared and stripped of topsoil, and the pond down at the bottom of the page on Pennsylvania Avenue is being excavated. And also, today, the work going on now is preparing what's going to be the bus lot with stone, which is the base under the asphalt, which will be used for them to, they've got their construction trailer there. They're going to use it to store materials, and that's where they'll be working from. And then I thought it was interesting to take the schedule and look at the sequence of work by building area. So then you'll see where the building is. There are four boxes, 100, 200, 300, 400. And so they're going to start with foundations next month on the 24th. The steel will arrive and begin erection on May the 12th. And then that part, that 100 building, the building out front with administration, media, cafeteria, and multipurpose room will finish March 19th of 2026. And then they will move to, actually the 300 building will be next. And of course, they'll be overlapping and all these activities will flow through. But I thought making the dates per section would be helpful for all of us to see. So the building directly in back of the 100, which is our pre-K area, special population, special classes. Foundations start April 14th. Steel will begin erection June the 2nd. And again, the finish date for that is March 19th of 2026. Just to the right of that, the 200 area, which is the K1 section of the building, foundations June 3rd, steel July 22nd, and a finish date of May 29th, 2026. And then on the left-hand side, the second and third grade wing, foundations start July 15th. Steel begins erection September the 2nd, and it's scheduled to finish on
July the 10th. There are two other boxes on this map, two other red boxes, and one of them is over there where the existing school is, and the note says demo existing school, summer of 2026. And then the box at the top says summer 2026, complete all site work, building clean, install furnishings, and occupy for the 26-27 school year. So I'm hoping that everyone can hang on to this piece of paper, and I'm confident that we're going to make these dates, and I feel like it'll be helpful to us as we go through the process.
Cool.
It's very informative. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody got any questions on the schedule and what's going on? If you hadn't been by there, I kind of encourage you to do a drive-by. If you haven't been on the website, WIMCO's got a website with I know he's got one camera. He may have multiple up by now, but you can look at it from your computer, your phone, or anywhere else and see what's going on. But I do encourage you to do a drive-by and see the dirt being moved and seeing progress being made. So.
Randy and I drove by Sunday after church, and I was amazed at how much had already been done. They're worker bees out there. I'm gonna tell you, they've done a lot just in a week and a half, but thank you for this.
You can tell plenty of work. I go by every day, 5 days a week, every morning and sometimes twice, but on my way to Washington High School. And it's.
I think I saw you on the camera.
You probably did. And you can just tell them if it's the gray Toyota truck, I'm not stalking. But I do. I circle in. I come through by the construction entrance on the backside. I just like seeing what they've done each day, and you can tell
Yeah.
a big difference from one day to the next.
You sure can.
Progress is being made.
And the WIMCO team was there in the meeting, all of them, and they are all over this project, I'll tell you.
Oh, absolutely.
They are all over it.
I have a question. I know all of this is on an estimate basis as far as completions and then the next step. Are we looking at any kind of shortages on materials? Have they expressed any concern, or do they feel confident they're going to be able to bring things in as they need them?
No, none at all.
Okay, so unless there's a hurricane or something, bite my tongue, something like that, we should be able to keep moving. And Dr. Cheeseman, we talked about the students at Eastern would have an early release date, so they'll be off campus. For anybody wondering, they will be totally off campus when this demolition happens, correct?
Yes, we already have looked at the calendar for this
Right.
year, and we'll work closely with Mr. Hoyt, but we'll also work closely with the principal to make sure they have the instructional hours. But we forecast that they will be done by Friday before Memorial Day.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me how we're gonna destroy that school with kids in it, and I go, well, first of all, we're not gonna do that. And second of all, they will be out of school, so just to make sure the public knows, they will be out of school for the school year until August.
Correct.
Yeah.
What do you need from us now, Jimmy? Are you good?
Not a thing. We're beginning the process for material color selections, and I'm gonna work with Dr. Cheeseman on that. And we'll come back to you with what we think would be nice for exterior colors, for brick and for roof. That'll be the next process, and we'll push that along so that we don't have any delays in ordering materials.
How soon do you need that information?
I'm hoping that we'll have those selections within 30 days.
Okay.
We're trying to calendar a date to go to a showroom and look at brick.
Okay.
Mr. Hike, thank you for this presentation. I do have a question. I know once you start to strip a piece of property, have you guys experienced any issues with any of the site work as far as any concern with having to perform any additional undercut, any grade work?
We do expect undercut on the site, and we have a significant allowance for that in the contract.
All right, thank you.
So we do expect it, and, hopefully we won't use all of it.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Anybody else got any questions for Mr. Height? Any more questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Drive careful, be careful in the snow and the night and
I
ice.
will,
and-
I'm gonna
Do we need to true him up? This is True Mountain Capital coming back up, and we're going to take a second to key him up. Mr. Cotton, he is going to be on a Zoom. Or Teams, or video.
It's hot. I know you're not hot, but it is hot in here to me.
I thought it was cold.
No.
We got air conditioning on this side.
I think I did feel air conditioner kick in.
I'm gonna wear a short sleeve shirt next time.
I felt it. I don't know where it was coming from, but I felt it. If we don't need any air, I probably has, I think we could probably get by without that.
Either this or law school, come on.
Andrea.
Anything new come up on that or anything? I kept waiting. I got a call from Regions Bank this morning that said, the guy's gonna call you today. Of course, he didn't call me today. So I know this is a non-action item. So I'll try to ram it through or what, but I know that Regions Bank has got people involved, this Steve Ross.
Yep. Just as soon as she can get them on.
While he's working to get online, we're gonna jump down to 6.3. And board, you got an attachment. This is school year 26 budget. and you got
25.
an attachment.
And it's sideways. Is this any different than what we had before?
No, this is from last year.
Yeah.
So the purpose of providing this to you as a non-action item is, as a few of you are new to the board, this is the format that was used last year by the Board of Education that was ultimately voted on by the board and then submitted to the county manager by May 15th. So why I put it here is for, as you're having budget conversations and you're starting to really think through what your request would be to the county commissioners, I wanted to share this format with you so you can start to think about, do you want to ask 4 columns again? In years past, and I say 3, 5, 10, 12 years past, you've typically had 1 column and just all or nothing, this is where we are, this is what we need, and then can you fund us to that point or not? But in the past year, we actually structured out 4 different columns to show that if we were projecting position losses from the state, which you are again, then how could you actually show the narrative or the story to your county commissioners? So if you look at the left-hand column, you'll see essentially what is needed, meaning in this case, last year it was state mandated pay raises. And you can see below that how FICA and retirement and health insurance is all impacted based on that. You also saw that we needed a utility increase, coverage for that. I think Duke Energy went up 12% last year. Also, we looked at updating our HRMS platform. And of course, we had a property insurance increase of 13%. So in short, if you look under the left-hand column, you'll see that these were all needs. It's not what you wished for, it was true need. All right, so if you start moving to the right, you'll see the column that essentially says saving 100% of your existing staff. Last year, it was 36 positions. This year, and you essentially cut 26 of those 36, but last year we were saying to the county commissioners, if you would help us save 36 positions, with all of the other things that we need, we would ask for a total allotment of 18.1 million. And then what you did as a board is decided, well, how do you cut that down to 95% of the need, to 80% of the need? And then if you just didn't give us anything greater than where we were. So really what I'm asking you to do is to start having forethought around how would you like to structure your budget proposal? Because that's going to lead into the conversation of what is the actual number that you're going to request. And so to that, if you look on the bottom left-hand side, you'll also see over the last 4 years what the funding request was, or excuse me, what the funding appropriation was. So just wanted you to think about how you'd like to structure this. So Ms. Potts and I, your CFO, can start creating that structure for you so you can start putting numbers into it. But also in closed session, as we've been talking about personnel and individuals and what does that look like, I think this piece really helps dictate your conversations in terms of how it could enter into the flow of information. So questions about just the structure of funding?
Question.
Go ahead, Terry.
Not about the structure, I understand the structure. In your February 11th meeting with the commissioners,
Yes, sir.
on page, which I have that presentation, get close enough to this thing. On page 6, you shared the 18,108,000 with them.
Oh, yes.
Did that receive a gasp or any particular response?
No response.
No response?
No, there was no
I
response.
mean, this was just a one-way conversation, I guess, is what happened?
No, there was questions at the end,
Okay,
but
okay.
no one asked me about it.
Huh, that's interesting.
Well, it's online, it's on video, so you can go back and see, but
Yeah.
I don't think anyone asked me about it. For those in the audience that are asking or wondering what he's asking about is, in a slide presentation that I gave to the county commissioners on February 11th at their annual budget retreat, I showed the 25-year history of average daily membership over time of, in 1999, you're at 7,438 students, roughly. And now you're at 5,400. So you saw over 25 years just the change in total number of students in Beaufort County schools. The other slide that he's referring to is, I showed specifically what our funding requests have been since 2020 and what our funding allotments have been. And I showed over 5 years or 6?
Yeah,
5 years.
I think it's 5
it
years.
is. A gap of $6.5 million short of what we asked for, meaning what we truly needed, versus what they funded outside of capital. So this is all just local expense. Blessed for what they give us, but you could see the actual gap. And so you're asking me, did they comment on the gap? And the answer is no.
Right, because that figure represents 100%, which would be the top end of the request.
Yes.
And what you're showing us tonight then goes down from there to 195.80 all the way back down.
Right.
So I'm not using the word worst case scenario, but that would be the top dollar amount.
Yes.
So I figured when they saw that, somebody would have had a question, but if not,
No.
that's all I was really finding out.
No,
So-
and on top of that, the other slide that I showed was total number of state-funded position losses since school year 20, which would have been fall of 19, spring of 20. And you sit currently at 46 state-funded losses. And with projections from DPI this upcoming year, you're projected to lose 7 more based off of loss of enrollment. So in 6 years, you would lose 53 state-funded teacher positions. So in short, what I was saying to the county commissioners is if you're losing state-funded positions, they are in fact in the unfortunate circumstance that the state is expecting them
Right.
to lift up the local amount. So it's an unintended consequence to them, but we would need their help because as a board, you don't produce your own cash flow.
Exactly. Okay.
Donald, you didn't have your hand up. I saw a flash. I didn't know if it was you. Anybody else got any questions for this before we go back up to Mr. Cotton? No, we're good. All right, we're going back up to 6.2.
You guys ready?
Hey, Mr. Cotton, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Didn't move, must not.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right.
It's a little faint.
All right, this is TW Allen Board Chair. Y'all want to go over the kind of where we are and how True Mountain Capital goes after the funding, is that correct? All right, Mr. Cotton, can you go in some detail on how this works and where we go from here?
Sure, just a quick round of introductions, just so you know who your board is talking to. And by the way, we can't really see you guys because the camera is sort of, you have beautiful ceiling tiles, though. Also, there's Steve Brosson. How are you, sir? Evening. Good to see you. So, just a quick introduction. So, I'm Bradley Cotton. I'm the National Managing Director for True Mountain. I also have with me our CEO, Jeff Cotton, as well as our COO, Cameron Garner. Looks like a fairly large audience. Perfect. That works very well. Thank you, Andrea. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time for us to tell you who we are and about this crazy program called New Market Tax Credits. So we found your project using a technology that my brother built, and we primarily focus in on one federal program called New Market Tax Credits, of which Stephen and a few others, Dr. Cheeseman, you have seen some of the wonderful tax law that I have forwarded on to you via email. I guess the purpose of this meeting is really just to give you a basic overview of what New Market Tax Credits are and how we can help make a pretty significant contribution getting a thing called an allocation. Cameron, do you want to pick up where I left off?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very nice to see you all virtually here. My name is Cameron Garner. As Bradley mentioned, I'm the COO with True Mountain Capital, and we found your project back in October and have been talking to the various business parties about implementing the steps necessary to pursue New Market Tax Credit allocation. Just a brief history, the program's been around since 2000. It is a criminally underreported program nationally. It's got broad bipartisan support, and it's generally, on average, revenue positive. In other words, the jobs it creates and the services it provides outweigh monetarily the tax credit or the taxes that the Treasury foregoes by implementing the program. So every single year, the Treasury, through a subset called the CDFI Fund, allocates $5 billion of tax credit authority to a group of private entities known as community development entities, or CDEs. And so the CDEs are basically the stewards of the program on behalf of the Treasury. You need two outside parties for a new market tax credit transaction. You need the CDE, who has the allocation from the Treasury, and then you need a third-party investor. And the investors are generally household names: U.S. Bank, Capital One, Chase, PNC, Wells Fargo, Truist, to name a few, and actually in descending order in terms of how many of these credits they take a year. So the project receives an upfront capital investment from the investor, and the investor receives a 7-year stream of tax credits. So little dissimilar from what most people are accustomed to when they hear the word tax credit. This tax credit wouldn't convey out to the county or anything like that. It would go to the tax credit investors, so U.S. Bank, Chase, Capital One. Beaufort County would have the benefit of receiving that upfront capital investment that the investor makes into the project, and can use that towards defraying some of the construction costs. So that was quite a bit to throw at you all at once, kind of the 30,000-foot view of the program, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Anybody got any questions? Go, Donald.
On a conservative note, what is the worst case, being new, this venture is new to,
Oh, yeah,
to
all
a
of
lot
us.
of us, to me. What would, in your mind, what could be the worst case scenario that could happen this, I hate to use that expression, but in this agreement?
Well, our engagement is purely contingent. So we don't charge the county or anybody affiliated with the county a fee unless and until we deliver an allocation. And so from that perspective, there's no risk from us exploring New Markets tax credits. I will say that the risk associated with actually going through the transaction, there's a little bit of monetary risk in that if you were to start a closing process, technically, if the deal were to fall out for some reason, then the county might be on the hook for legal bills. This is typically where I point out that I've never started a closing and failed to close. The reality is, I can pat myself on the back for that, but it really has nothing to do with me or us. The reality is you have investor and CD who pick this project out of hundreds that they see in a given year. And so if they commit to a project, that project tends to get to the finish line. But back to your question about risks, generally speaking, unless you convert the school to one of what we colloquially refer to as the sin businesses, a liquor store or a casino or something like that, where it's one of the prohibited uses under the program, generally it's fairly easy to stay in compliance. That's the other risk is a little bit more in depth. It has to do with the investor's exit out of the transaction at the end of the 7th year. I will just sum it up by saying the investor has little to no economic incentive to stay in the transaction and put you at risk in that standpoint. So there's virtually no economic reason why the investor would stay in after the 7th year is complete. And if you compound that by the fact that they would be effectively exiting the New Market tax credit investment business entirely, that's generally the rationale behind the investor exiting every single transaction since the program's inception.
But you've gained your capital at the end of that 7 years, so you would expect them to exit anyway, correct?
Yes, they've received so the investor receives a 7-year stream of credits,
Yep.
and that we refer to that as the 7-year New Market tax credit compliance period.
Okay.
So that compliance period extends from the date of close through 7 years. And during that 7-year period in annual milestones, the investor receives their credits. And so at the end of that 7th year, there's no more credits to receive. And the only thing that they would receive back is their original investment. And I can, from my opinion, would be that the reputational they hit that investor would take by saying, we've received all our tax credits, and now we actually want our original investment back. To do that to a pre-K through 3 school, that would not be a headline that any of the investors would want.
Could I have a follow-up?
Go ahead, Sean. Yeah, I didn't see you, sorry.
Okay. I think the last time we spoke about the current funding that has been dedicated through the education lottery and the county government agreement. I guess this is more to the Attorney Rawson, and maybe Dr. Cheeseman, is how could this, how does this affect our funding with those promises that we've already been promised, the money that we need to build this construction, this building, new school?
Yeah, so knowing admittedly little about the funding structure that's already in place, what we typically do in this situation is we leave those funds alone, and they are funded directly through the original mechanism that was intended to get those dollars into the bricks and mortar of the building, and we enter into a long-term ground lease of the building, which kind of circumvents any sort of prohibitions on the uses of those funds going anywhere else other than into the bricks and mortar of the building.
A long-term ground lease?
Yeah, you said long-term ground lease. I got everybody's ears perked up. So
can you
come back with that long-term ground lease.
Yeah, so the ground lease typically all of this stays in place for 7 years, and in its normal course of business, all of this gets unwound after the 7th year. But we set up effectively an instrumentality of the county that would receive tax ownership, not fee simple, customary, ordinary ownership, but tax ownership over the building by virtue of that long-term ground lease. And in so doing, checks the box we need on the new market tax credit side. But at the end of the 7th year, the intention from all parties, generally speaking, is to unwind all of that and tear up the ground lease, tear up all the documentation surrounding the transaction, and have it unwind.
So at the end of the 7-year period, the investor, I guess they could request partial or all of the allocation received back? Is that possible?
No, the allocation is committed and funded at closing. The tax credits are what's out there for 7 years, and at the end of the 7th year, there's nothing for the investor to take back.
But why do you want a ground lease underneath the building that we own entirely?
Because we need to set up a new entity that the county and some combination of the county and other players would control, that would serve as our qualified borrower under the new market tax credit regs.
Yeah, you lost me.
Cameron, I think it
Yeah,
may
you
be
lost.
helpful
You
to
lost
clarify
us.
here.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
think it may
Steve.
help me clarify that the question is around who controls the ground lease. I think some people heard that Triton would have the ground lease. I want to clarify.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm having some trouble hearing. The ground lease is between whoever owns the property and this new qualified borrower that would control the property, that's under control of the county as well as any other players that the county elects. But that ground lease is by and between both the county and an instrumentality of the county.
Anybody else got any more questions for anyone?
No.
But
We can think about it, but I think I'm done.
the amount of the agreement is fully funded on the front end, as far as we're concerned. Less the fee.
I'm sorry, I missed
The
that.
amount of the project is fully funded on the front end. So basically, if you went and raised $1 million, you give us $1 million on the front end, but you hold a ground lease for 7 years.
And we have our assets.
And we have, yeah. Is that right?
So, yeah, so I believe the question was, the project is fully funded right now, and you enter into this long-term ground lease. Was your question, why entertain this? Yeah. So, typically when we get to this stage, when we're presenting to a full board, we make the statement of, is there something else that had to be carved out of the budget that you might be able to add back in if you had a little bit of extra money? If that's not the case, then I don't see why the county would undertake the new market tax credit transaction.
I think we're good. We're good. Good. All right, I think we're good. Thank y'all for your time and for joining the meeting. Thank you again, Steve.
Y'all have a good evening and stay safe in the weather tomorrow.
You too.
Thank you.
We're ready to move on past that. Everybody good? Yep. When they said the ground lease, that was,
That's first we've heard of that.
that was the red flag.
Assets while they're transferring.
That's right. All right,
And
That's
just,
right.
just so everybody would know, I've got a contact, and another one of these financial entities that I'm waiting to talk to. He was supposed to call me today. It's Regions Bank that does the same type of business, and I was a former employee of Regions Bank, so I'm calling on them to kind of explain further, what this means to us. But that ground lease is something that I had not
that's a
picked
barrier
up
for
on
me.
in any of
that was
this,
the red flag.
contingency
We're
agreement.
good.
Yeah, we're good. That's why we investigate.
And I think on the surface, it is something good for us to investigate.
Well, if we were $3 or $4 million short, but we're not $3 or $4 million short.
Yeah.
So let's jump down to 6.4. Let's keep it moving. SY 2526 recommended legislative priorities. Dr. Cheeseman, you got an attachment, Lord.
Yes. So I'm providing information for you that you can read at your leisure to have a better understanding of the recommended legislative priorities and government affairs update from Jeff Coltrane, which does in fact come from the State Superintendent's Office, State Superintendent Mo Green. And so just to walk you through it, again, it just, at the very beginning, talks a little bit about some of the deadlines that are coming up with Senate bill and House bill drafting deadlines. So this is where you start to see just multiple bills suddenly showing up all at one time. It's because they're on the timeline. But on page 3 of your document, you'll see who are the representatives or who are the senators actually leading some of these education appropriation committees and K-12 committees. But to the point, if you slide to page 5, you'll see some of the points or pillars that State Superintendent Mo Green, in his conversations with superintendents across the state, so he's actually going to each of the REISs right now, met with them last Wednesday with about 13 other superintendents, and he's laying out his pillars, and as you'll see those, preparing each student for the next phase of life, investing in public schools by fully funding public education, revere public school educators, enhance parent and community support, ensure safe, secure, and local learning environments, and celebrate the good in public education. And as you can imagine, all of those then peel open, and he's got a lot of different points of interest and activities to do those. But if you look at number 6, or page 6, the overall priorities to strengthen public schools, obviously he's looking at what's happening in Western North Carolina with the Recovery Acts. But the second bullet point, investing in raising teacher and educator pay, and you'll hear me come back to that. Also reform the principal pay plan, as all principals in the state of North Carolina find themselves in an up and down situation throughout the year with their pay based on student performance and also based off of ADM. So really for an individual to be a principal, there is a certain risk and a daily stress that comes with that in terms of what their salary may or may not look like, and the abrupt change that could happen in January. And also, he's looking to help address the nearly $13 billion in school construction needs across the state. And of course, you've been blessed with getting an NC Lottery funded construction grant. If you look on page 7, here's why the state superintendent is really focusing in on teacher salaries. So his philosophy, after communicating that with us last Wednesday, is, you know, it's fantastic to have signing bonuses and it's fantastic to have supplements here or there. But when your base salaries are not competing or not at the level of competing with other states, all these signing bonuses are only good for a short-term amount of time. So on that page 7, you'll see the average teacher salary for 12 different states of what they dedicate to be the southeast region of the United States, going from Georgia to West Virginia, Florida, Arkansas, many others. But you'll see that North Carolina somewhat ranks right in the middle of just those 12. But if you look on the right-hand side, the starting teacher salary sitting in those is second to the bottom at $40,136 as an average salary. But also I can tell you, as communicated to me in the meeting, that the state of North Carolina sits somewhere between 46th and 48th in per pupil allotment spending. So that is very difficult to be competitive in public school education when the support is not there. So if you look at page 8, 9, 10, you'll see the different types of requests that the state superintendent's going to ask for in terms of the budget, but also whether it would be reoccurring or a one-time funding source. So increasing school health personnel, implementing exceptional children-weighted funding formulas, student transportation information. So there's lots of different things that you can take a look at. But on page 9, this is what our principals are dealing with each and every day. And this is about the school health personnel student-to-staff ratios, or staff-to-student ratios. So the state superintendent is looking at school counselors, school nurses, social workers, school psychologists. And just to give audience members an understanding, Beaufort County Schools as a district has two social workers. And Beaufort County Schools as a district has two school psychologists. When the state superintendent and his team is recommending 1 per 500 children, you actually have 1 per 2,500 children. All right, so that is a big piece of what we're dealing with inside our public schools. Also, we have 7 nurses as a district, and the state superintendent is asking for 1 per school, and we have 7 with 13 schools. And the state superintendent is also looking at school counselors at a 1 to 250 student ratio. Current ratios across the state are 1 to 346, but in Beaufort County Schools, you have 15 school counselors for 5,400 students. So you can see that those things really need to be changed statewide. So if you look at page 10 in terms of the requests of what the state superintendent's going to look at in terms of different things academically, you can peruse through those. Dr. Parker and I can meet with you to talk about those individually. Also on page 11, you'll see school cybersecurity. What types of supports do we need to protect our children even further than what we do now? Looking at school business modernization, what do we need to do? State Department of Information Technology, what do we need to do? And then also, if you go to page 12, more about advanced teacher roles. So in non-budget legislative requests on page 13, school calendar flexibility is to give the autonomy back to the local LEA, back to the public school unit, so you can decide what's best for your children in this county as to when you'd like to start and finish school. Unfortunately, the law does not allow you to do that right now. But if you go down on page 13, also to eliminate the practice score requirement for admission, because there are some fantastic potential educators out there, but sometimes a standardized test prohibits them from becoming a professional educator. But also look at eliminating the DPI requirement for district accreditation, as many of your colleges and universities are no longer requiring that. And that is a money killer. We pay a lot of money to be accredited. On page 14, you can also see about revising provisions for CEP meal program incentives, meaning how do we actually provide meals at no cost to students. So just a lot of different things there, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. I'm not going to quiz you tonight, maybe next time. But to that point is, these are the things that are coming out of the state superintendent's office right now. State superintendent and your state board of education are trying to be aligned in similar pillars, so I do project that some of your state board of education goals might change, and then their goal as a collective unit is to work with your general assembly in order to fund public school at the highest levels possible. Any questions?
Does he get involved at all with the health insurance side of the business?
Health insurance?
Yeah, it's the state health plan.
The state superintendent doesn't necessarily.
That's what, he doesn't have anything to do with that. It's all through the legislature. Right?
It's through your general assembly, yes, sir.
Okay.
Because I'm getting a lot of questions on it.
Well, you're
too.
getting a lot of questions because they're asking for a 150% increase.
Right.
And so these people that are back on that page at the front, is that where I'm looking?
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Those are your education
Those are just
appropriations.
education, but there's still, you got senators and representatives there. So
Yeah.
they're still in the legislature.
Yes, sir.
That's what you need to contact them about.
Yes, sir.
And tell them that the requests that are being made to put back on these teachers is beyond ridiculous.
Agreed.
This other stuff is all nice, and I kind of get a little bit of a kick out of every year that they come and send me this thing, and I see the calendars at the top of the list, and I know it's not going to change. But it's okay to look at it and read it, I guess, every year. But what they need to be called about, and I intend to do just that. I live on the road with one guy, and that's ridiculous. 150% increase? Come on.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous isn't even the right word, but since I'm on camera, I won't say the right word. But it's crazy. It's crazy.
Understood.
It's unacceptable. Yeah, it's just absolute. If they, if they want people to leave public education, why don't they just say so?
Right. I agree.
I mean, just quit beating around the bush here, and just like I always do everything else. If I got on my mind, I'll say it. Just go ahead and say it. It's crazy. Okay, I've got that out for tonight.
Yeah.
I'd also have some questions about the retirement system fund, the way it's managed. If you'll take a look at that, it's in your audit report that you got. They invest in a lot of things that we would, as a individually or as a group, would never invest in. You know, like 30% of the state retirement system funds are invested in global securities or global economies, real estate, different things like that. You would think that a retirement system would be a little bit more conservative in their investments, but if you'll go back and take a look in the notes of your financial statement, you'll see what the state retirement system is invested in, and it's alarming.
Yep.
It makes you wonder if the people that are handling that know anything about investing. You literally can do better, those people that know anything about investing, you literally can do better with a dartboard and a dart than what they're doing.
All right. We're gonna move down, are you done on that one? All right, we're gonna move down to Policy Code 3100. It's got me beside it. Donald, you asked for the 3100, and to kind of see where we were on the curriculum adoptions.
I
And
did.
that's why I added up there.
I did.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I was approached recently by some citizens who, I guess, after seeing all the advertisements from Hillsdale Hillsdale College, that they were asking about that. And I said, well, I know a little bit about it. I know that it's a free curriculum. They provide a lot of support. I've not heard anything derogatory about it. And so they said, so I said, but I think we discussed it a year ago, but nothing was ever done. And they said, well, what do we have here in Onslow, excuse me, I used to work in Onslow County, Beaufort County Schools, what do we have here? And I said, to be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think we have anything structured right now in social studies, because that was never picked back up. But let me, so I got to thinking based on the Policy Code 3100, that we're supposed to get some reports on, where we're at as far as curriculum. And it's been almost 7 months since we discussed that. So I think what I would like to hear tonight is an update on our curriculum committee. And I know that we're focused on science. And my thing is, why couldn't we do both? And I'm not advocating for Hillsdale, but I'm saying, why couldn't we have look at some other history, civic, or social studies curriculums alongside looking at a science curriculum? Can that be done? Is that possible?
I don't know of a curriculum adoption team adopted right now, because no, they haven't brought, after we finished Policy Code 3100, after the adoption team was, I read it today, it's somewhere in this paragraph, but the principals were supposed to get the members of the team plus the parents and bring it back to the board to approve. So I hadn't seen where we've had a curriculum adoption team.
Yeah, so let me step into this for a second. So you've not received any type of report because you're not engaged in an adoption process right now. So just to make very clear, on Policy 3100, Section A, last sentence, it says the Chief Academic Officer shall provide progress updates to the board throughout the curriculum adoption process, of which you're not engaged in right now. And so in 2023, after it was very clear that the board was not entertaining what our curriculum council was suggesting, which was composed of professional educators, that adoption process stopped. And so I didn't bring anything back to you because that process stopped. And I've not been charged with, nor has Dr. Parker been charged with, to re-engage it. Now, 3100 has changed since then. And as outlined here, it says the team shall include a minimum, and it goes on to tell you who the team is. The superintendent shall work with principals to develop a site-based process, of which I did work with 5 or 6 principals recently to talk about, if the process were to engage again, what would we do? How does that look? So we got some ideas to share with our remaining principals to do so. My understanding is the team ultimately would report the 3 top choices for a new or replacement curriculum to the board in the order of their preference. So in short, I've not received a charge to actually do a curriculum adoption yet. 2 other things to think about, and I understand that you say free about things, but as we're going through your budget for the board, I think it would be very wise to understand what your budget is prior to starting an adoption process on any subject. I don't care what the subject is.
Sure. Okay, so my follow-up on that then is, if we don't have a social studies and adopted social studies, civics, or history curriculum, what are our students getting? Because we know that they're not going to get anything when they get to college in founding, civics, So what are, so what are our students getting then?
So
I think
for-
that's a fair question.
I think all your questions are fair. So to that, and so everyone in the audience understands, is the state of North Carolina decides what students should be learning. You don't determine that as a board. And I think that's really,
We do have
we
a say
can-
in that at a local level.
thank you.
Sorry.
We
But
are-
you, as a local board, do not determine what's on the state standard. The state of North Carolina provides the standard
That's
to
true.
you. Yeah. Thank you. And then beyond that, you decide the how, meaning what curriculum would be used. So to your fair question is, if you do not have a curriculum embedded in your local district, then your professional educator at their site works with other professional educators to determine how to unpack the standard and how to teach that standard. And so therefore, they decide to use what materials inside their classroom, work at the site level to do so.
At
And
the
that's-
instructional level. Right.
At the instructional level.
Was that a question?
No,
Okay.
but it's at the instructional level. We should all be working together as a board. And there's so many things we're not. This is one of those things.
Is that a question?
It's a
I don't,
statement.
I don't know if I should be answering you, so
Well,
if you form it in a question, I can
According
answer.
to Policy Code 3100 Curriculum Development, which they don't have a copy of, but we do.
It's online.
We're talking about trying to get this group started, which you said fell apart.
No, it stopped. It didn't fall apart. It stopped. There was a
Then
decision
why did
and
it
it stopped.
stop?
Because
There was a decision made very clearly that the board was not in favor of what the curriculum council was suggesting, so it stopped.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure, this is, what you're going back to is Savas or Savas, how do you say it?
Savas.
Savas,
Savas.
that- you know what I'm talking, and that's when the board turned that down, and that's when it stopped. So that's what he's saying. There was a curriculum brought to the board just didn't agree with what was chosen, and so the board stopped it. So since then and now, do you remember that? I mean, I'm sorry, did you say something?
No, hey, Terry, what I don't understand is what is the holdup in starting?
Right, I'm getting there.
The next curriculum? What
Right.
is the holdup? I feel there's a holdup here. So what is the holdup in trying to get an accredited social studies curriculum in our schools? What is the holdup?
Okay, I was getting ready to ask that question, not exactly that way. But, so I know why it stopped, and nothing changed since then. So since we do know we need a science, because that's a testing grade, I mean, a testing subject, and a social studies, is there a possibility what I'm asking, is there a possibility that we can explore a startup and begin looking one?
Yes.
Because it takes so long to go through the process. Here we are, February, I had to think what month I'm in. So we're here in February. It would be very hard to get something for the August startup of next year's school. I don't think you could do that.
No.
Because you really had to back up because you have to roll it out to teachers prior to the school. I know you don't come the first day of school and throw a new curriculum on somebody. I know that. I've been here a little while. So it would take a while. So since we're looking at doing something the following year is what you would have to roll it out at, I'm assuming. Is there a possibility we can go ahead and get that? I understand the budget piece too. So we could go ahead now, to Donald's point, and start something up so that we could maybe fold it into the budget as well.
Yes.
And just go from here. I mean, we got to start somewhere or we'll never get anywhere.
Right.
And I got a question here, Dr. Parker, and you may not know this question, answer to this question already, which I wholeheartedly agree with what Donald Trump has done and getting the DEI and the CRT and everything out of the executive orders. But I would probably think that a lot of curriculum
It's gonna be
booklets
modified.
and everybody right
Yeah,
now are
revising.
pretty much stripping everything out. Is that what you're hearing, or what are they going through, making sure that it's not all there?
Some
Do you know?
revisions.
Yeah, revisions, or do you know what they're doing?
So as you remember, this board already covered that with your CRT policy some time ago.
Yep.
So that has already been well addressed
Okay,
by
cool.
all of our
I have a
investigators.
question, Tito.
All right, go ahead.
I have a question, Dr. Parker.
Yes, ma'am.
And I understand with some of the new executive orders coming down. There might be some restrictions, revisions, there might be some things totally taken out of the social studies policy, but I'm not here to talk about that. I want to talk about the science.
Sure.
At what, because it is important for, that is a tested subject. So if we start looking in to adopt science curriculum, what grade levels, will that be 3rd through 12th? But I guess when you get in high school, you have different sciences. So what does that really encompass?
So science is tested at 3 grade levels, 5th, 8th, and then biology, which is usually tested in the
5th, 8th, and biology.
which is usually tested in the first couple of years of your high school career.
Right.
So
Is our, and I guess any AP type of science is actually tested totally different because it's a college course, correct?
yes, so if it's an honors or an AP course, those are usually taught in different sections. They have a different pace or rigor to that curriculum, and then if it's an AP, they get an AP test at the end of that.
I guess my question is, if it's an AP science, do we really even mess with that? Because do we we don't adopt an AP science curriculum, do we? Isn't
No.
that coming down from the state level or the college level? I don't understand that area.
So in terms of AP, well, there's 2 different things. Just as Dr. Cheeseman alluded to before, North Carolina sets forth the standards as far as what's to be taught. AP is a kind of a separate section where we try to prepare our students to do well in the AP exam because that can give college credit
Exactly.
down the line. So,
And that was my question, is that, do we really delve into the AP curriculum? Because the way it's tested, yes, you prepare them for the test, but it is set aside from your regular science curriculums, correct?
yes,
Okay. So 5th, 8th, and then biology.
is our 3 science tests.
You know, I think the question is here, you know, everybody's here passionate about something, whether it's science, social studies. It's obviously important to all of us that we have curriculum for all of our educators to use in the classroom. It creates a standard, you know, it does away with some of the guesswork on what's going on. Based on Policy 3100, I think the real question is, how do we get started moving into looking at some stuff to hopefully get into an adoption process? I mean, right now, I know, you know, nothing's really going on.
The first thing that's gotta happen in, underneath the curriculum development, second sentence, they gotta charge the superintendent and, director of, chief academic officer to put together a curriculum team come back to the board for them to go look at it. So basically, that's what needs to happen.
I make a motion of that.
It's not an action item.
I've got
We're not on a non-action item.
So, in Dr. Cheeseman as well as Dr. Parker, your opinion, would it be possible to look at a science and a social studies history curriculum at the same time? Is that too much? I mean, reasonably, I don't know.
Anything is possible, sir. I will say this. In the curriculum adoption process, not only do you have to vet and examine materials and go through rubrics and evaluate those pieces, but you also have to do an extended amount of professional development because it makes no sense to commit to it if you don't teach teachers how to properly implement it. To go through, sorry ma'am, sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
To go
Let's
through
let you get
simultaneous professional development would be the huge challenge.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am,
that's
sorry.
what I was asking.
The
I mean,
other piece of that too is some of your professionals engaged in those adoptions may be the same people, especially in the elementary level.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
on
we need to be,
average.
we need to be thoughtful of how we can have just multiple people if there's more than one adoption going on at
Right.
the time.
Can I make a request that we entertain for our next meeting, moving something to an action item?
Yes.
I know that, because I'm not trying to catch you off guard, Dr. Parker, but if we can move this into an action item our next meeting so we can start this process, and then you can report, back to us how long it may take you to get a team together and all that. I know it's very, very timely.
So, basically, the second paragraph in section C says the board shall submit its direction for curriculum content prior to the team beginning its work. So it begins with you as a board.
Right.
So we'll bring
Then-
some ideas at the next
Okay.
meeting.
That's what we're asking,
Don?
just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Do we have
Yeah,
any,
that's all.
any idea or any kind of an estimate how much it would take, how much time it would take to be, to complete a science, study?
In usual practice, it's an 18-month process. In usual practice. And you've
the
heard this
reason-
before.
Yes,
Yeah,
we've heard
and-
that before, but I know you're talking about 5th grade, 8th grade in biology.
All right, so why is it an 18-month process? Can you do it in a shorter amount of time? Maybe so, but what you're typically looking for is entry into the beginning of a school year, so it's August, whether it's August of this year, August of next year, August the following year, but just say August. If we were year-round, it would be July. But looking at August, then you back up looking at spring as the time that your professional educators would need professional development in the new curriculum in order to be enabled to invest that time to learn it, understand how to use it, understand some of the barriers in that new teaching and learning mechanism, because you cannot assume that your 10-month employee is going to dedicate their non-paid time over the summer to do that work. You just can't assume that. That's not fair to them. So then you back everything back up to spring for professional learning. And I would never recommend a new curriculum without a fully funded professional engagement for those employees. You're setting them up for failure if not. So then you back up the previous calendar year, and typically why we say it's 1 year long is the board is going to set forth essentially what the criteria is. I'm going to work with principals in order to figure out who their site-based team is going to be. They're going to have to create mechanisms to figure out how parents are going to be involved. And based on your new policy 3100, you have to approve that list. And so that's going to take time. And then once they actually engage into that, then you're going to have vendors come to the table of bringing their materials, and you have to have your professional curriculum council vet those materials. All of that is going to be 6 to 7 months long of what I've just said. Then it comes typically into the fall and you say, hey, now it's time to really narrow that list to 3. So then you're going to come back to the board and you're going to have discussions of what that looks like over those 3. And then once you narrow that down, then Christy Potts, sitting at the very end of the table, is going to tell you if you can afford it. Because then the vendor's finally going to come to the table and say, everything that you've asked for, here's your price quote. And then you're going to have to negotiate that. So it doesn't take 18 months just to say, hey, this is what we want. It takes 18 months for your initial involvement to discovery, to acquisition, to receiving the materials, because don't forget, the vendor's going to take somewhere between 100 to 120 days, maybe 150 days to send it all to you. And then you have to unpack it, you have to put PD together. So that's why I typically run 18 months. Can I do it in 15? Maybe so. But your timelines also have to be aligned to your holidays, your current professional development series, your summertime off, like how many of those people are
Donald's
coming?
next.
So, but that's why I look at it that way. But can I do it faster? Maybe.
Donald?
Dr. Parker.
Yes, sir.
Don't mean to pick on you, sir. And I realized that the adoption process had not started when I was trying to get an update from you, so I realized that. So forgive me for that. But, and I may be getting ahead a little bit, but once we do, once that process has started, I would just encourage that you give us some regular updates, of course.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
But we've got to get started sometime.
Stacy?
We have to get started sometime, and we're talking about a curriculum that's been an issue for a while. But we've created an entire school in less than that these kids need that curriculum. So how does that trump our children not getting what we need for a building?
So I just want to pause for a second, and I'm respectfully going to say this to you. I'm assuming you're talking about Washington Elementary School?
Yes, I am.
All right, this curriculum for science does not go down to kindergarten, my friend.
No, it's only
The
fifth, eighth,
curriculum
and
I'm looking
following.
at is K through 12 with a very low overhead. I'm sorry, I've been looking at a curriculum already since I've been on since December.
Okay.
I apologize
What are you apologizing for?
for jumping ahead to a curriculum that I've been looking at. I was thinking that most of our board had been looking at curriculums as well.
The board policy
Since there was
30,
a board policy existing.
the board policy 3100 lines out the correction adoption process that's on there, that we go by, that
how
we
we
just
work,
finished.
right.
To what?
Of how we work together, but, as Mr. Shreve's saying, we're not getting anywhere.
We just started the process right now. They're gonna bring back the ideas.
Ms. Davis, with all due respect, and I'm gonna say it as sincerely as I can say it,
Please.
I've just been charged to bring something back to you the next meeting.
Right.
Yeah, we just told him to bring
At
it
the
back.
next meeting,
But my
I'm just
question,
floored at some of these processes.
and I appreciate your concern.
Right.
And you're more than welcome to come meet with me to express those concerns.
I think the workshops we should be having as a board, not coming in one-on-one.
That is something that you can talk with the board. I am your employee.
Will.
Again,
Thank you.
We don't,
again, I would like us to entertain that at our next meeting,
right.
It's on the agenda.
we make it an action item to request that Dr. Parker start the process as soon as possible, compile your team, principals, be thinking about who you want to recommend to be on the team, and we move forward.
And then the team has to be approved by the board.
Yep, and the
Yes.
team has to go out and be.
Carolyn, are you talking about science curriculum?
Yes, and as soon as we can get that going, I don't have a problem with us, after a few months, seeing if he can then start the social studies.
You think
But
that it's
He has a
practical?
very small department now, used to be a lot more people, and so to ask these few people to do all of that might be a little taxing for them. Am I correct? Your department has shrunk quite a bit, right?
I'm not in agreement with that.
Me either.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying, we know that science is a tested
It
subject,
is.
and we are all about scores,
I agree with that.
unfortunately.
Well,
We are
rather-
all about scores. Whether we like it or not, I don't like the fact that it's all about scores, but it is all about scores. Social studies, our teachers are still doing a bang-up job teaching the standards set forth by the Department of Public Instruction. And the principal sitting out there, if you tell me that our social studies and civic teachers are not teaching the standards, I want to know about it, but they are. Whether or not they're teaching the identical curriculum from school to school is something that we can ask about, that we can investigate. But for right now, I am assured by several principals, they are teaching the standards.
We need something structured as far as civics and social
I
studies in
don't, I
our
don't disagree
schools.
with that, Donald. I don't disagree. We need a structured curriculum. What I'm asking is that we be prepared for a vote and an action item at our next meeting, which is just a couple of weeks away, to ask Dr. Parker to go ahead and start this process.
I'm not in favor of delaying getting a social studies curriculum or civics curriculum in our schools, an adopted curriculum. I'm not in favor of continuing to put that off. I don't see why, with the talented staff that we have, that we can't do both.
So I'm just requesting that you go back and consider what your current budgets are before you put anything into fruition, because you don't have any mindset of what your budget is right now in terms of what goes towards any curriculum, whether it's health, whether it's social studies or art or science.
On page
Work on your budget
27
first.
in our
Hold
budget-
up, hold up. Gary's got it next. Gary had.
My comments, I understand that we've got budget considerations is a big part of this process also. And that since we're in the budget process, we need to get that started as soon as possible. I think that it's going to be a mistake on our part if we don't take a little bit longer view of this than what we're going to do next month. I would like to think that Dr. Parker could come back to us with at least a plan, possibly for the next 2 years.
That's fair.
And that would tell us
I think so.
that at the end of the 2026 school year, we would have a plan as how we're moving forward. And as far as the budgetary concerns, I understand that probably maybe the science curriculum may not have changed as much as what we're looking at, maybe with with the civics and history, but there are a lot of, I think, social and issues that the president's administration is taking a look at right now. But I know that, and I've told you this story before, I have a grandchild in the Hillsdale curriculum, for example. I'm not going to promote that or say that's what it comes up. He gets handout materials every day with regard to civics and history lessons. And he started this when he was in the 2nd grade. But the material that Hillsdale provides, just to give you some information, like I say, I know there's other sources that we need to look at, is free. That information is free. So I understand that there are budget considerations, understand that there's vetting that has to be done. We have to make sure that the standards are met, and I'm sure that that there are curriculums out there that other schools are using and would probably recommend that we should consider and take a look at. So I think that we can do this, we can begin this process fairly quickly. I would just like to say, let's don't stretch this out and do one at a time. Let's plan on both together. Both of them are, in my opinion, equally important. I know that science is testable.
Why don't we do this? And you got a great idea about charging Dr. Parker and Dr. Cheeseman, and I'm going to add one person to charge into it, the finance lady.
Correct.
So Ms. Potts, let's charge those 3 staff members of ours and to come back in March with a plan for adoptions of both a science and maybe a timeline to get a hold of everything together. Timeline for the committees, the whole timeline of the whole thing for the science and the social studies, and that way we got the money taken care of and the instructional side taken care of all at one time, because we got to start something with a plan. And I like your plan coming back. Let's get them all involved right to start with.
Okay.
Charles?
I would like to add one thing about just the social studies. I think we need to move ahead on the science for sure, but we need to move on the social studies.
By the way, this is from a history teacher.
Well, a long time ago. We need to get this process started, but because before we know it, we're going to go another 2 years, and that'll be 4 years. And as far as y'all mentioned the Hillsdale program, that's something we need to at least look at. It's free. We're talking about budget problems. It's free. It's
Not
also
really.
very versatile.
No, have you done a deep dive? I did a deep dive and components of it are very free.
Hold on.
They're
It's
handouts.
not a several $100,000 curriculum.
No, I'm saying, but it's not all free.
Wait, she's got it first.
It's not all free.
No, not all
Once
free,
you
but it's
start
not- it's-
diving
it's
into
next
it,
to
then
a-
they start selling you. Look, all I did a year ago
We're not
was
spending
ask
$500,000
them for
on
some.
it.
Look,
Some of that is true.
whether it's whatever
Yeah, it doesn't
curriculum, we've
matter
all
at
got
this
a joint thing. No matter, we're not going to argue about whether it's free or
No.
not free or good or not good.
It's
Let's
affordable.
let our team that we just charged with going out to come up with everything, go get the information, put together the budgets, put together a timeline, and bring it back to us in March.
Yes.
And everybody, and that's
good
the
with
only way
that.
we can do this, because if you get the cart before the horse,
Yes.
what if we get to the end and our science curriculum's $200,000 and we don't have but $110,000?
Well, that's where a long-term plan will help us answer some of those budget
Agreed.
constraints.
And
some of
I
those
would add,
Great move,
I would add that it's
Gary.
also versatile enough that you could use it as something that you adopt as your official curriculum, but it's also versatile enough that you could use it as a supplement too. And I think most history teachers would find that helpful.
Can I say one last thing? I know
I'm
you
ready to
care.
move on.
And I don't want to get too far ahead on any, but this conversation that I'm hearing on Hillsdale, I've tried to look at it. I've not looked at it that much. I don't have anything against it, for it. I even spoke to Donald in the parking lot a few weeks ago about it, and I said, let me look at it. He got me a booklet. I looked at it. But then I went and done the research. I wanted to see if this is an issue or not. I just today read the approved curriculums for North Carolina. It's not listed. There's 44 pages of social studies curriculums approved.
This board can approve any curriculum.
Any curriculum.
That's a
Well,
mistake.
That's
Well,
fine, but
well,
if it doesn't match up
It's
to the
the
state,
standards-
if
it's
it
the
doesn't match
standards
up to
you're
the.
talking about.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, I was talking.
I'm sorry, it's the standards that you have to meet, DPI.
That is what I just said. If it doesn't meet the standards, you don't, it's not gonna, it's not on the list, and if it's not on the list, there's gotta be a reason.
Well, let's.
But we'll let him worry about that.
Let them worry about
Right.
that. We're not into the dive deep
Ex-
of if it's
Well,
TW's
remember.
curriculum or Joe Blow's curriculum or what. We got a
Exactly.
plan, we're going forward.
Exactly.
We got to focus on what we got going on.
Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Parker.
No problem.
All right, 7.1, we're into action items. We have a bunch of attachments. Everybody should have had a chance to read them. This is a normal summer program that we usually do every year. And Vicki Bennett is coming to the front.
Good evening, Ms.
Here comes your mic. Sorry. Okay, you got it.
As in previous years, we are asking for your approval for the 24-25 summer program plans. The summer program is an additional learning opportunity that allows the districts to administer EOCs and EOGs after the conclusion of the student's academic year. Students will receive remediation and then are given the opportunity to take either the EOC or the EOG again. Student participation is voluntary. The re-administered test scores will not be included in growth analysis for school accountability or for educator effectiveness. However, the higher of the scores will be included in proficiency calculations.
All right, board, you got a motion? Any questions?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
7.2, field trip approval. We got 4 of them on there.
Yep, Southside High School Skills Club Regional Rally, Greensboro, North Carolina, April 9th through the 11th. Northeast Elementary School Athletics Band Team Travel, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Virginia, May 9th. Northside High School Girls Softball, Richmond High School in Richmond, Virginia, March 21st through the 22nd. And Northside High School FFA National Land and Range Judging Contest, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Wow.
April 29th through May 12th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, Mr. Williams.
I move we go into closed session pursuant to General Statutes 143, 318, 11A to present disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statutes 115C 321.
Second.
Thank you all for coming.